Hey, here we are, Friday, big show in sunny Ventura, California. I was about to say Santa Barbara, but no, we've gone southern down the coast. We've got good friend and longtime colleague here, Jason Womack, to share the big show with us today. We've got an incredible message to share. Tell us a little bit.
Well, today's focus is really going to be on the weekly meeting, and both in life and at work. And for those of you who have seen the show, I'm kind of an every now and again guest. But really my focus in my career and in my life is working with individuals in the office setting, looking at productivity, workplace performance, a lot of time management issues. You know, one of the things that we found is there's an idea that crosses between work and life, which is just to stop about once a week and take stock of what's going on, what happened, and what's going to happen. So I thought that'd be a good theme to talk about today.
Yeah, I think it's the juxtaposition. It was interesting because we both sat down and were like, what visual could we use that would represent this? And what did we come up with? We came up with the two circles, both of us independently, so we knew we had something.
Yeah, that overlapping Venn diagram. You know, there's work that a lot of people have their own ways of managing that, their time management and organization, if you will.
Right, and then there's the life outside of work.
And a lot of people try and separate that out. You know, I have a lot of clients that I work with who they'll say to me, you know, Jason, I want to be able to work when I'm at work, and I want to be able to forget about work when I'm at home. But let's be honest, folks. Guilty, by the way.
Yeah.
When I'm at work, that's when I have the moment to think about what I'm going to do the next weekend, or that's when a colleague of mine is talking about their vacation, and I start thinking about, oh, I'd like to go there. And likewise, when I'm at home, or out to dinner with my wife, or out on a run. That's the great stuff about being on location here. You know what?
You get the Harley Davidson motor. It doesn't get any more real than this,
Real.
folks.
This is Ventura County.
Now we can cut it. We can start it again, but we're going to keep going.
And when I'm out on a run, or when I'm out to dinner with my wife, that's when I start to get my ideas about the next article or the next speech that I'm writing.
Yeah.
So let's get to it. Let's talk about the weekly meeting.
So the weekly meeting, and whether that's, again, I mean, happening in the workplace or it's happening at the home, one of the things that we're noticing is that folks at home, you get into this day-to-day routine. Really makes it difficult to carve out some time where you can just sit down with the family and essentially go through what we're seeing as essential points to that weekly meeting. How do you like to get it started?
Well, likewise, really quick, just to build that bridge, work is the same thing. You have a small team, you're on a project team, and you get together for that weekly debrief, or that weekly brief, or that weekly review, whatever you wind up calling it. And in both of these instances, there's a couple of practices or principles that we want to bring to bear. One of the first ones that I like to remind people of is when you sit down with a group, and whether it's just you and I, Joe, or it's a larger group,
or the family,
there are 3 time zones that we really need to work within. And, you know, people ask us, you know, what time of the day should I do my weekly review or my weekly debrief? And what's more important to me is what time zone are you going to talk about?
And we're not talking about Pacific, Mountain, Central, Eastern time. We're not talking about that. The time
We're talking
zones,
about the past, the future, and the present.
Right.
So when you're talking about the past, so you sit down with that group of people, here's a great opportunity to acknowledge accomplishments. And, you know, I've been saying it for years. If you want to build your own or someone else's self-esteem, notice what they did well and remind them of it a day or a week later. When someone gets to notice that you noticed, magic happens.
Yeah. And it's not to say that we discount things that didn't get accomplished. We're going to get to that. But to get things moving, to get the motivation, the inspiration for being there, the excitement about sitting down, it's like, hey, this is going to be a great thing. Start with the acknowledgement of what we did achieve, the successes, the big wins from the week.
You know, one of my clients, actually, he keeps a note card for each one of his team members. There's 18 people on his team, but he keeps these note cards handy, and during the week he writes down when they accomplished something, when they won, when something went well. And not that he goes through those cards every week in their meeting, he picks one. And so in a few months, he's able to get through everybody, but it's this real acknowledgement of what was accomplished.
That's a great tool. I like what you're saying there, because I think that's going to work well for family too. Mom and dad, and as kids get in the middle school years, it's working great for them too, because they're going to want to acknowledge you as parents for all the amazing things that you've done.
So let's pop to the
rare
future.
Occasions.
What impact does future focus have in that weekly meeting for you?
I think it allows us to really recommit, or sometimes just commit, to things that we want to achieve, that we want to really take forward movement on, and really see that we've taken some action on. Because we're talking, again, this is the weekly meeting. It's not the monthly, not the quarterly. This is the weekly meeting. So we come back now a week into the future, we want to be able to talk about those successes, those things that we've accomplished during the past week. The only way that's going to happen is if we really put a plan in place for how that's going to happen. So we really need to commit to a certain set of actions that's going to move us forward.
And really practicing visualization in these things. You know, when I'm working with clients in the corporate side, and I know you do this on the family side as well, we actually get people to talk as if the project's already done.
Right.
To actually describe what happened that led up to the accomplishment. So again, the past is, what did you finish that went well that we can check off the list? The future then is, how do you anticipate this feeling, being, succeeding, and then start to build some vocabulary around that.
Exactly. It's not just going to be luck that gets you from here to there. It's not going to happen. It's that, and I love that the word there, the visualization, imagining what it's going to be like when that actually happens. Because if you can see yourself doing it, you're going to be able to achieve it. If you can't imagine it, you're going to have a hard time getting there.
And that's a great bridge to that third time zone of present. You know, we're only here, and it's only now, and we can plan for the future, we can regret the past, but when it comes down to it, you're watching this video right now. By the way, the now that you're watching the video in is different from the now that we're recording the video in, but we're always in that present moment. And what I like to encourage people to remember, and whether I get to work with an executive on their workflow, someone with their athletic endeavors, if we do get the opportunity to work with a family, it's what's going on right now that's leading you towards success. What are some strategies you've used?
Well, I think it's, for me, it's the focus on what are you going to do. So you're there at the weekly meeting, you've talked about past successes, right? You're looking at the future, what actions are we going to take? Now it's, let's bring it to the right now. What are you going to do today? What are you going to do today that is going to move you that much closer to what you said you wanted to achieve in the future by the time we get together next week? And focus on that singular action.
And what I like about what Joe just shared was, it's not what are you going to do right now, like stop the video and run to go do that thing. So in essence, we're on that line of present future.
Right.
But let's just say by the time you call it a day tonight,
Like that.
what will you have done that will demonstrate meaningful movement, meaningful progress on some of those things that you have committed to, that you visualize, that you brought in as completable events?
And that's a process that you go through every day.
Right.
And you commit to it on a daily basis, and before you know it, 7 days have passed. Look where you are. It's incredible the type of progress just by bringing your mind into focus on what is it that you can do today. Don't get caught up into 7 days from now. Just focus on the day.
Call to action, take out your calendars, and maybe should they commit to maybe the next 4 weeks to experiment with this?
Well, that gives us a solid month, and really new habits, 30 days.
Yeah, so, you know, just pick, it doesn't have to be the same time of every day of the same day of every week. And I'm going to take a pause here while we get the Harley going by again, so hold on.
Cue the Harley.
Gives people time to think about what we just talked
take
about.
it all in.
Wow, did he really say to pull out his calendar?
I think he did.
We'll be right
It's
there.
almost gone.
By the way, thank you for sticking with us, and you know,
We realize
that's
your
the thing
time
about
is
being
valuable.
on location.
Yeah.
So what I found is in 4 or 5 weeks of practicing with something like this, especially if it's not already a habit,
Right.
in a month you'll be able to look back and recognize, did this work? What did work? What would I want to change? But out of the gate, here's the recommendation. Go to your calendar and just put 4 meetings. 4 meetings for your team and 4 meetings for your family. And let's see how it goes.
All right, and we want to hear from you as always. Send in the comments, let us know. I mean, that's how we can create such amazing stuff for you, and by sharing it, having people connect with us and letting us know what's working, what questions you still have. Have a wonderful weekend. Great to see you as always.
As always.
So glad we could share this.
Good job.
All right, take care.
Thanks everybody.